Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. Hope everybody's doing well. There's so much information out there, and I wanted to share a little bit about where we've gathered a lot of our information and data that drives our content, but also drives a lot of the science behind our products and how we came up with our products and the balance of our products. I thought that'd be something that a lot of you might find interesting and know that when you're supporting Vitalize Seed, you're not just supporting somebody who blindly threw some seeds together and hope for the best, but somebody that put a lot of research into all of our products, not only for my own farm use and Jared's use, but obviously for all of our customers' use. So I'll start off here with the book Hands on Agronomy by Neil Kinsey. Absolutely fantastic book. A Grower's Guide to Balancing Soils. Obviously, we do a lot of soil testing with our partners at Ward Labs and understanding how to tell our customers, whether it be a farmer, a food plotter, a gardener, or somebody in between, we want to be able to tell them, hey, you need to do this or you need to do that in order to maximize those soils. A Growing Revolution. This is a really interesting book talking heavily about regenerative agriculture, but also nutrient density and understanding how diverse cover crop systems can impact nutrient density over time by maximizing the biology below our feet. Dr. Christine Jones, if you've listened to me at all, you've probably heard me mention her numerous times. Talks about the idea of quorum sensing, rhizosheath sheath formation, etc. I mean, she's just a brilliant woman, and anything she does on YouTube, any papers she's written, any webinars, podcasts, etc., definitely check her out. Ray, the Soil Guy Archuleta. Ray is somebody who's just absolutely fantastic. Tons of videos on YouTube, podcast, etc. He spent a lot of years working for USDA. Ray's the one who I often say he mentions them as biotic glues. From holding the soil together from the biological perspective as you use multi-species cover crops to diversify your biology in the soil and produce better soil aggregation and soil structure through that biology. Ray does a fantastic job. Definitely check him out on YouTube. Nicole Masters, I'm reading her book actually currently. I've also listened to several of her podcasts, YouTube videos, etc. that she does. In her book, she does a really, really great job of talking about unique things like using milk as a foliar spray, but also bridging the gap, I think, between conventional fertilization or conventional agriculture and fertilization practices to regenerative agriculture. She does a really nice job of bridging those and not making it seem polarizing, but kind of splitting the hairs and going right between and figuring out what works best for each grower. And I think that's something we do a good job of, or at least try to at Vitalize Seed as well. Nicole Masters is really brilliant, and I would definitely recommend reading anything or viewing anything that she does. Ag PhD Radio, just a plethora of information out there. They have a web show or podcast every single day. You can write in questions. I mean, they do a ton of soil test analysis. Just a really, really brilliant guys. They do a great job and well worth the listen. They're definitely not in the regenerative agriculture space, but I think that's good to make sure that you're getting information from multiple sources so you can kind of understand what works where and or what have they not tried or what have the other people not tried and kind of split the difference and figure out what's going to work for you and or at least have that in your mindset. A Soil Owner's Manual by John Sticka, probably one of the first books I've read in regards to soil. Just an absolutely wonderful book. Really breaks down carbon and nitrogen ratios for simple, really simple to understand, and talks about soil biology. You can probably read the book in a couple hours. It's a small book. I've read it multiple times, and it's just one that you want to have around. It's that good. William Albrecht. So if you're really interested in this stuff and you want to even dive in deeper, you're going to want to pick up these type of books. It's a little bit drier. They were written a long time ago, but they talk about soil balancing even further in depth and kind of how it works and how the synergistic and antagonistic relationships within the soil, tests that they were doing way back in the day to figure out how these things are working, etc. Really, really interesting stuff and definitely worth the read. If you even want to dive in further, I then read William Albrecht on calcium. So the entire book is just on calcium. But again, it's really, if you're interested in soil structure and you want to dive into this stuff more, I definitely recommend it. It's a very good book, and it's influenced a lot of the people that I've talked about today already in their base knowledge or baseline knowledge of soils and soil chemical structure. A lot of that stuff was based off of what Dr. William Albrecht had discovered and put out there many years ago. Dale Strickler does a wonderful job in this book. My biggest takeaway from this book is how fast he was able to build organic matter. It's well faster than what people had traditionally thought. He was able to do this through really diverse cover crops, cropping, and intense grazing. But he does a really fantastic job in this book of explaining kind of all the different things that go into that, from the mycorrhizal fungi and how you need diverse cover crop systems in order to achieve that, all the way through, tip to tail, if you will. Does a really good job, easy read, and it's one I enjoyed. Anything AEA or regenerative agriculture podcast. There's so many good interviews on there. John Kempf is a really nice guy. I've actually exchanged an email or two with him over the years, talking about various things from amino acid take up to plant protein conversion, to just areas of the state that they travel through. So really nice guy. Easy to talk to via email, and has just an unbelievable amount of good information out there for you to listen to on the Regenerative Agriculture podcast. Obviously, I couldn't forget about our buddies at Ward Labs. That entire team over there, Patrick has answered hundreds of hours probably of emails and phone calls from me discussing things, and me just asking, well, why? Well, why? They just do so many good YouTube videos on soil testing, soil analysis, tissue testing, etc. So definitely a wealth of knowledge. Give them a follow on YouTube, and feel free to reach out to them too via email. They'll answer any questions, and they're just a wealth of knowledge. This is another great one, Gabe Brown, Dirt to Soil. Most people have read this if you're interested in soil. If not, pick it up. It's an easy read. Gabe does a wonderful job of talking about the benefits of diverse cover crops for building up soil, how he's able to do that, and he really simplifies the idea of mycorrhizal fungi and whatnot, and kind of how he learned a lot of it through trial and error, which I thought was really awesome, and definitely influenced some of the ideas that I had early on. This is David Brandt. Unfortunately, David Brandt passed away this past year. He's really like the father of no-till cover crop and regenerative ag. I mean, he just was so influential. So many podcasts. I remember watching one many years ago with him and Ray Archuleta doing a seminar somewhere. I think it was in North Carolina. But he was talking about planting green and diverse cover crops, and how he started with just radish, and then he worked his way up to 13, 14 species cover crops, and he was doing row crop farming, but they were also using roller crimpers, and as you can see, big hairy vetch, and I'm sure there was 13 other species in there, diverse cover crop system, many podcasts, YouTubes, etc. Definitely an influence for us here at Vitalize Seed. Dr. Rick Mulvaney, he talks about the potassium paradox, just a wealth of knowledge, talks about how using multi-species cover crop systems, as well as stimulating biology through those systems, we can unlock a lot of the potassium that's already in our soils. So very, very interesting. There's YouTube channels and podcasts in which he discusses that. Rick Clark, a large organic farmer out of northern Indiana, I believe, has the Farm Green podcast. As I mentioned, he's organic, so he can't use any herbicide. He's one that really got me interested in talking about flail mowing for really diverse cover crop systems. He was also doing roller crimping. As you can see, he's doing a diverse cover crop system there. And he uses really diverse systems, and he found that in some of those situations, it was actually easier to terminate using flail mowing versus roller crimping, depending on the crop that was to follow. So I always thought that was really interesting. And he has the Farm Green podcast, and just a wealth of knowledge on diverse cover crop systems. And then again, here's just a picture to kind of end everything off with Gabe Brown in an extremely diverse cover crop system, as you can see, that's above his head in some cases, and the rest of it's about up to his chest. Absolutely dominating above ground biomass. I can only imagine what the root structure looks like. Guys, there's so many great people in this industry and market, and so many great people you can support. So for those of you that do decide and to support Vitalize Seed, we sincerely appreciate it. I just wanted to share some information that I thought you all might find interesting and want to dive into more, and also hopefully a little bit of information that lets you know how much time and effort we've put into, on top of our own farms and trials and plantings and friends' farms that we're planting on, etc. How much time and effort we put into developing our mixes and our products, and how much your business means to us. So sincerely, guys, I really do appreciate everybody. I hope you found this video useful. Get outside, enjoy the outdoors, and if you like this stuff, please share, subscribe, and follow us along at vitalizeseed.com.